Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is my lovely guest, Moni Amandla. So, everyone, let's get those fire emojis in the chat. Okay, let's get the fire emojis in the chat. Hello, Claudette, Samantha, Mr. Hotel, Lillian, Kenyetta's in the house, Nessie X. Okay, I see you, Claudette. So, let's get ready to get it started. Hey, Andrea, Kathy B. For those of you who sent me your emails, I sent you the email to this link, and if I didn't send you an email link, please be sure to send me your email so that you don't miss anything. Okay. All right, Lillian, I see you. All right, thanks for those fire emojis. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Moni tell you all a little bit about herself, and then we're gonna have this discussion, and then we'll have a brief Q&A where some of you, if you would like, you can click the link and join the stream to ask Moni some questions. Okay. Hey, AKA Care Bear, Sharon's in the house. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Moni, I'm gonna let you go ahead and speak.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me here, and I'm so glad to
Yes.
be here with you and with your community. So, hello to everyone out there. I am Moni Amandla. Really excited about tonight and to be able to share who I am and what I do. I am a scientist and I formulate nutraceuticals. I'm also a speaker and an author of the upcoming book called The Unconquerable Spirit, as well as being part of the Change Book Series, Volume 6. A lot of people ask me, what does it mean to formulate nutraceuticals? Basically, I make vitamins, essentially, or the botanical equivalent for the pharmaceuticals. So essentially what happens, and I'll kind of share how I got into it after I tell you guys what I do, but essentially what I do is physicians will call me in if their patients are not responding to your traditional allopathic care or pharmaceutical care. And then I use what I was taught as a child via ancestral medicine to not just focus on what's happening symptomatically with the patient, but more importantly, what's going on with them behind the scenes. Sometimes they need a formula in which I'll go to the lab to create, and other times we need to just move the energy because some things are stuck energy from childhood, traumatic events. Things of that nature. And so it really depends on what it is that person needs. And so I always pray. And people will ask me, well, how do you do what you do? And I'm honest. I say I download. I'd love to be able to say that I'm the smartest woman in the, here. But the truth is, I pray and I just become a vessel. And I've now been able to help people literally in many places all over the world, such as all over the United States, Canada, Singapore, France, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Japan, and so I've just been hugely blessed that a lot of people don't know who I am, but it's kind of like if you know me, you know me, and within that community, I'm known as a healer, and I tell people that I get to heal people both spiritually and physically, and what a blessing that is that I get to do that for a living.
I forgot I muted my mic. Okay, absolutely. I love it. Okay, so very interesting. Is so you talk about energy being blocked and things like that.
Yeah.
I had my chakras balanced one time before. Some of them were blocked. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of that. Making sure the chakras are able to, let the energy flow and things like that.
Oh, it's extraordinarily important, and most people don't understand it. They'll turn on a YouTube video and then they'll meditate, but most of the time you have to now ask, why did the chakra become blocked in the first place? It becomes blocked based upon our experiences, the things that happen in life, right? And so when I take a patient back through, and sometimes it's even a past life regression, some things that they're born with have to do with, other incarnations that they've had. And that's uncomfortable for some people, yet it's true. So we go through and I ask the tough questions, at what age do you remember this happening? Was there something that, happened? Because it can be even recent, bad relationships, or issues with a mother can help, can impact a woman's root chakra, where she can have a lot of issues, that manifest in her body as it relates to that. And so it's extremely important. but the chakras are literally they become blocked or open based upon our emotional state and where we just didn't do the healing. Because a lot of times what happens, especially to us as Black people, what we tend to do is we keep going because we're so used to trauma. We just keep it, we just keep moving, and we don't deal with things a lot of times. We just tuck it away because we believe it makes us strong. It's all about being the strong Black woman or the strong Black man, right? But we don't take time to say, you know what, that was painful, and to deal with that because it's associated with weakness. But what happens with that is we end up having a lot of things, within our chakras that get stuck based upon our experiences, and we don't realize that. And we go through life just being used to being okay, but we don't know what it's like to feel amazing. You know what I mean? Because we just get used to it. It becomes our new normal.
Right. We just accept it and deal with it because it's normal to us.
Absolutely.
Okay. And a lot of times childhood trauma is something that many people carry into their adulthood. And they don't understand. Yes, absolutely. So that's very interesting to know about that, especially with the root chakra. I didn't have any idea about that. So also, are there any particular herbs that you prefer, over others?
Yeah, I mean, and that depends, right? Because the way that I do this, I do very personalized nutrition. And what people believe is that every herb is for everyone. And that's just simply not true. They'll do a Google search and say, oh, well, this is good for this and this is good for that. Well, that depends on your blood type. Right. It depends on, your typical diet. You can take an herb and it impacts someone else and it looks miraculous, but then you can take it and because of your diet and your blood type, it not have any impact on you at all. And then being able to understand how the herbs are balanced energetically. Some are male, some are female. You could have, too much male energy and then you put a male herb on top of that and it doesn't help you when you really need your body to be calmer and peaceful and more divinely feminine. And so I don't have a preference of one versus the other. It just really is about the person and analyzing, like their most recent blood work, the questions of, what have they been dealing with, and also understanding, what is their blood type so that it actually works better for their cells rather than just putting together blanket formulas.
Okay. Now, what about removing parasites for the body, from the body? Like, what type of herbs would you, suggest for something like that? Because I feel like these parasites probably cause a whole lot of sickness that people probably don't even realize they have them.
They do. Black walnut, haritaki, amalaki, bibataki. Some of those are some of my favorites as far as that go. Mastic gum from the Tree of Life, I really like a lot because a lot of people are dealing with things like H. pylori, and they'll go to the doctor and they will get an antibiotic. But the antibiotic isn't always what they need because these bugs have now become resistant to a lot of the antibiotics, right? And so, but things like black seed, things that help you to over time. But also, one of the biggest things that people miss, instead of just looking at an herb, is they have to eliminate the sugar. The sugar in the diet is what keeps them alive. They need that. And so we're only 10% of your cells are human. And when I tell people that, they're like, what do you mean I'm only 10% human? Everything else is either your microbiome, which is, the bacteria, or your mycobiome, which is the fungus, that makes us. And those things, because they make up 90% of who we are, actually communicate with us. And they're the reason for our cravings. It's the reason why we want sugar, because they actually need that to stay alive. And so when we look at for example, when we're looking at certain cancers are the result of having your microbiome as a result of too much sugar, right? In your diet, your breads, your rices, your pastas, and things of that nature. And so, when I'm looking at those things naturally die off. That's why when people begin like a ketogenic diet or starting to do a sugar detox, what's happening is they're starting to get cranky and all that kind of stuff because they start to die off because you're literally now starving them.
Wow. So that makes sense because there was a book I read years ago called The Sugar Blues. And it basically talked about how people take sugar and it puts them on this high. And then all of a sudden they just crash when they don't have it. And so that sounds like maybe that would be why. Okay.
That's the bug.
Wow. That's really interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There was another herb I wanted to ask you about. What about soursop? Soursop leaves.
So good for you. Yeah.
Really, someone sent me, one of my YouTuber friends, True Royal, she sent me a bunch of soursop leaves, and so I make them into teas every day.
For you, soursop leaves are excellent for you, and those can go across all blood types. So
Okay.
that's actually fine to take. It's very high in antioxidants, and it's anti the C word. I don't know if I can say the C word, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So I have to be careful with what I say.
Right.
But it definitely it's anti-tumoral and all those good things. And so and it also
Okay.
helps to stabilize blood sugar levels. So I would definitely continue to take that every day.
Okay. And then I know what I wanted to ask you. So what would you suggest for someone who was trying to do a heavy metal cleanse?
Ah. Again, that one depends on
On the
depends on
blood
the
type.
blood type. It depends, yeah, because you can have some people that do them and it puts their body into shock because they've done it too aggressively
Mm,
and their body is
okay.
simply not ready for it, right?
Right.
And so it's hard for me to give a blanketed statement without knowing,
What?
what's
Right.
yeah,
Okay. That makes sense.
yeah, because what happens is, you have all these people who are herbalists and nutritionists, and then next, they wonder why, oh, it must have been, it wasn't them. It was that you gave
Right.
them a protocol that their body simply wasn't ready for, right?
Mm,
And so being able to get those analytics, get that blood work to see what heavy metals you're really dealing with right now. You want to
okay.
go with the, and chelate and get the blood cleanse and all that. Like, so for example, my favorite blood cleanse is going to be Haritaki. I love it because it's going to cleanse the blood. It's going to cleanse the lymphatic system. And it also helps to clean the colon, right?
Okay. Let me write that down. Haritaki.
Yeah, and you can actually get it in a form called Triphala, Traphala, and Triphala is really great because it's got the Haritaki in it, it's got Amalaki and Bibataki, and so it's already balanced. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But it's a great cleanser for that. For making sure that the blood and lymphatic system is clean.
Okay. That sounds really good. This is a wealth of information, honey. Let me take my
Yay!
notes. She got the queen taking notes. Y'all pay attention. Okay. Okay, I love it. Okay, so now I've heard of some people because I work a lot with stones and crystals, and I've heard of some people making elixirs out of certain stones and crystals. Have you ever done anything like that?
Yeah,
Really?
just because of the energy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Uh,
it hasn't been, I haven't done research where I've seen that it has anything to do with the crystal themselves outside of the energy entering into the water. The
right.
water's holding memory, right?
Okay.
And so one of my favorite things to drink water out of is copper, actually, right? Because we need copper. You sit the copper, basin outside, let the
Mm-hmm.
sun hit it. And now you're talking about some massive energy and massive cleansing
Wow.
for
Okay.
you. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely
Okay.
done that before.
Okay. Y'all hear that? Y'all need to get y'all a copper mug or something or a coffee
Absolutely.
cup.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my
They use it
friend
in
is.
Ayurvedic medicine all the time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
even though they deal with like a lot of high blood sugar,
Yeah.
diabetic conditions over there, there's a lot of things that they don't deal with as a result of
Mm,
making sure that they drink the water out of the copper. And then I would just keep it in a basin. And whenever you need to get your water, get that. Because if you're taking certain minerals like zinc, for example, you need zinc, but zinc robs the body of copper. So you got to
mm,
put the copper back. And so that it's balancing. As most people are dealing with deficiencies, they're not necessarily dealing with illness. They are deficient
right.
more times than not, and especially in the minerals, even more so than the vitamins.
Okay. Another thing I was going to ask you about that parasite cleanse. So, when doing something like that, would you suggest that the person may do it um after they do it, maybe for a certain period of time, then they stop? Should they try it again like a couple of weeks later, just in case if they laid eggs or something? I know this is also gross, but I just have questions.
Yeah, they lay eggs, and they especially lay eggs around the full moon.
Really?
Yeah, they have sex.
That is
They have sex
very
with predators,
interesting.
everything. Yep.
This is also gross, but we need to know
It's
these
gross,
things.
but it's true, right?
We
And
need to
so,
know,
yeah,
yes.
and especially like with a lot of women, they'll think that with their menstrual cycle that, oh, it's only the full moon. No, it's not. It's not just the full moon. It's also the things that are inside of you. They're acting up around that time. That's when they're, because they use the
Wow.
bathroom inside of you. They do all that stuff inside of you.
Yeah, it's really sad. And I saw
Yeah.
this show where it was like a medical show, but they were showing where this woman was having like neurological issues. She would fall out and stuff. She couldn't keep her balance, equilibrium was off and all
Oh yeah.
that. And so they did a CAT scan and saw that she had they thought she had a brain tumor of some sort, but come to find out she had this worm
Yep.
inside of her brain. And
Yep.
they said it came from eating uncooked well, it was cooked, but it wasn't cooked all the way, I guess, some type of pork. And so they had to perform surgery on her to pull that thing out, and it was gross. And they said had it stayed there any longer, it would have started to eat at her brain just like they eat at an apple.
Absolutely.
That is really scary.
It's scary, but again, it's about having the proper diet, right? I'm not trying to be funny, but we should know by now not to eat pork.
I'm sorry, honey. I haven't eaten pork in like 25 years.
See?
That's one thing.
I was like, are we still having this conversation?
Right.
About eating? I mean,
right. That's what I told him one day on my other channel. I said, honey, who's eating chitlins in 2023?
Really? It's unbelievable. And believe it or not, with what I do, I was actually invited to go have, we got some chitlins.
That's okay.
They were frying them. They were dipping them in batter. They were doing fried chitlins.
Coming up with all kind of new recipes. This is all crazy. Okay, so this is very good. I hope you all are writing this down and taking notes. Okay, this is very interesting. And good to know, of course. So what about dealing with the epidermis? What things would you suggest as far as cleaning, exfoliating the face? Now, I make like an herbal soap, and I use like honey, organic oats and stuff like that. Sometimes I put in there, and I like to exfoliate my face with a brown sugar scrub. Do you have any suggestions for things like that with keeping our skin looking youthful and all that stuff?
I do, and it's going to be very, very, very controversial.
Okay.
But my favorite cleansing method is the oil cleansing method, right? Okay. And being able to add, because people say, well, why would you try to clean your skin with oil? Believe it or not, even if you have oily skin. So what I do is I'll take, like you were saying, like an exfoliant, like a sugar, like a really fine sugar, and I will use maybe a tamanu oil or I like coconut oil a lot, and then put it on the skin. You know what I mean? I don't like exfoliate every day, but I do use that. And then taking a hot towel and then letting that steam sit on the face. And when you cleanse it off, it is one of the best deep cleansers available.
I agree. I actually agree with you on that, because when I make the brown sugar scrub, I put different oils in there, and coconut is one of my favorites.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll have beautiful skin, but then also getting enough vitamin D and enough vitamin C. Vitamin C is really, really, really cleansing. And then, of course, taking your collagen. You know what I mean? Right. The collagen supplementation is really, really excellent. And so it's not just for me, it's about what we're doing on the outside. You want to minimize the chemicals, as much as possible in terms of what we're cleaning with and all that good stuff, but making sure that the internal structure, because beauty is from the inside out.
Okay, now let me ask some, I'm going to ask a couple of questions for ladies, but then I'm going to ask some for the men too. Okay, so what would you suggest as far as something natural for helping the nails to grow? Like if you have brittle nails, my nails never grow. Like they'll grow to a certain length, then they just break off.
Really?
But yes. So what would you suggest for like brittle nails? There's this stuff that I was taking, it was a biotin, and I forget the brand, but I was taking that for hair, nails, and skin. I take that every now and then.
Good. Selenium is good, but also making sure that your hormones are balanced, right? So when nails and things are brittle, oftentimes it has a lot to do with, again, the internal condition, pharmaceutical medications, making sure that the body is clean and there's lots of nutrients. And so selenium, biotin, but for the selenium, I would do like maybe 200 micrograms of that every day. That's very helpful. But then making sure that you've got plenty of minerals in your system. Even like a lot of people love to to do the sea moss. Sea moss for their minerals, which is great. Making sure that you've got plenty of iodine. I like to use what's called nascent iodine in my system, because again, it's anytime that the body is not thriving, there's a deficiency somewhere, right? And so it could be an energetic deficiency, but more times than not, it is a mineral deficiency. 90% of the population is deficient in magnesium. Right. And magnesium has over 300 cofactors in the body. And so when we're looking at all the cofactors and all the things that it does, and you want to make sure that you get the right kind of magnesium, though, because, for example, magnesium oxide, the molecules are too large to fit into the cells. So you want to make sure that it's like if you've got digestive issues and you want to go more regularly, you want to do a magnesium citrate or a bicarbonate. If you don't have that as an issue, you want to make sure that you get a chelated magnesium called magnesium glycinate. The magnesium glycinate is really, really helpful, and then it can get into your cells better. It'll have more bioavailability.
Okay, thank you. Now, as far as the men, I would like to ask, so what would you suggest? Is there any herb you could suggest for men when they, as they're getting older, like middle aged or whatever, and then they stop producing so much testosterone?
First things first would be their diet. Eating vegetables that are high and that raise levels of testosterone, like your broccoli, your cauliflower,
Hmm.
cabbage. All of those things raise testosterone levels.
Okay.
There is an herb in particular that's called Tribulus terrestris that I like a lot for raising it, and then there's another one called Tongat Ali that actually does raise the testosterone levels.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what about if their hair starts to thin? Is there anything they can do about that?
Same thing. It's the same thing, but that depends because that's it depends on if it's traction related or if it's hormonal related, because that has to do with their androgen. Because when women go through menopause and perimenopause, men go through andropause, right?
Mm,
And so andropause is responsible for that. And so that thinning hair and all that's typically hormonal, really hard to treat in a lot of men, but that can help taking those herbs and things, especially early on.
okay. Okay. This is all good information. I hope y'all are taking all these notes.
Mhm.
Okay. So, that's very good. So you talked about the full moon. So do you by any chance do full moon rituals? Because I know I do.
Mm-mm.
You don't? Do you
I I don't know if I would call it a ritual. I know that I go out and I have this thing where I call her La Luna, and so I bathe in La Luna for myself. But I don't know if it's a ritual, right?
well, that's what
I
I would
just
call it.
so I just bathe
Yeah.
in the moonlight. That's what I do.
That's what I do, honey. Sometimes I go out there and dance in it. But yeah, I definitely do that. And that's basically what I'm talking about. I go
Okay,
out there and I absorb the energy of the moon.
that's
I
all I
mean,
do. Yep.
yes, and I take
Yep.
my stones and crystals out there and sit them out there for hours so they can recharge
Oh, so
and
you
stuff
you
like that.
I got to learn from you all that part.
Yeah, so that's what I do. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? You can put your questions in the chat. Okay. Kenyatta said she's taking notes. Okay, so um let me think of what else specifically I want to know about.
Hmm.
So what about when people have like a serious problem with dry, cracked skin? Now, I know using oils like coconut oil and stuff like that, shea butter helps all of that. But I've seen people who have kidney issues, specifically like people on dialysis, where they have like very dry skin. Now, what I guess the lack of function of the kidneys would be the main cause of that. But what would you suggest? Because even when that with the coconut oil, it doesn't always, it'll last sometimes for hours, but they still have these issues with their skin. My friend was telling me about her father about a week ago with his skin, sometimes like it's almost shedding. And so, is there any treatment you would suggest for that, or any type of specific oils or whatever?
Yeah, so one of the things that I did, obviously you got to hydrate a lot.
Hmm.
But when the cellular renewal needs to happen, I would definitely suggest things like making sure you get some CBD into your system. And then what I like to do for that specifically is, and it's probably going to sound nasty, but I will take a tablespoon of coconut oil,
Okay.
raw,
Yeah.
unfiltered, unprocessed coconut oil, and eat it every day. Right.
Okay.
That's going to do a
Okay.
lot of things. It's going to help to balance that microbiome, because
Mm.
the ALA, the alpha lipoic acid that's within there, and the CLA that's within the coconut oil, it's also going to help with candida. And so it depends on what the reason for the cracked skin is, because sometimes it's a fungus infection, right?
Mm.
Which happens as a result of the body not turning over, those cells not turning over fast enough. But when they're talking
Hmm.
about the CBD, there's two receptors on the end of every one of our cells. They're called CB1 and CB2, right?
Okay.
With that whole endocannabinoid system. Now, what makes that so special, especially with CBD, you guys have probably seen that. Myself and two other gentlemen actually launched that here in the United States, and so I have a lot of time in the lab studying this and studying what it does.
Hmm.
So that if you imagine all of your systems in the body. So you've got your endocrine system, your circulatory system, and so on. And you draw a circle around all of those. That's going to be your endocannabinoid system, or your internal system that requires cannabinoids from cannabis. Okay.
Okay.
And so the receptors are called CB1 and CB2. And if you imagine kids that's in a classroom, right? Let's imagine
Mhm.
you dropped them off on the first day of kindergarten, but there's no teacher there, right? And no teacher ever shows up. What do you think those kids are going to do?
Just go
Eventually,
wild, to just get into
thank
all
you.
kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. That's what our cells do. Why?
Mhm.
Because the CBD it acts like on the cannabis, which used to be the number one, two, and three most prescribed medication in the world. Okay.
Wow.
Um, without it, those cells do whatever they want to do, right? And so when people say, "Oh, well, we're not supposed to have this, we're not supposed to have that," I agree with not smoking it, right?
Hmm.
Especially if you're, if you're going to be, get rid of the
Right.
toxins, right?
Hmm.
But if these little things that are on the end of our cells that are doing like this, once you introduce that to the system, right? Now all of a sudden, instead of going wild and going rogue, and that's why we get a lot of the diseases and things that we get and things that aren't functioning properly because there's no teacher. So the CBD and things like that come in and they become a teacher from cannabis.
Mm.
Now all of a sudden, those students that were going all wild and doing whatever and going rogue, now they're standing at attention and now they're waiting for instruction. And that instruction is simply to get back into balance. And so whether it's the skin, whether it's the kidneys, whether it's, doesn't matter what it is, they are waiting for that. And now when you're talking about that, which controls the physiological function of every other system in the body, putting
Hmm.
your body into homeostasis or balance, now your body has peace. So it's not too dry. It's not too moist. It's not too anything. It's at peace because we're already wonderfully made. And people can argue with me all day about it, but I'm like, you have to take that up with God, who literally put an internal system in your body that is designed for it.
Right. Absolutely. That's amazing. Okay. Now, someone asked, a natural Virgo says, what does she recommend for multiple melanoma if one doesn't want traditional treatments?
Depends on the blood type. MoniAmandla.com is my website. I definitely that depends on the blood type. I deal with a lot of cancer patients,
Hmm.
brain cancers, pancreatic cancers. I mean, I've had a lot of them that the
Okay.
oncologists work with me with. So it just depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then someone says, Sharon says, is collagen liquid or pill form? Uh, what milligrams to take for collagen?
That depends. That that
Okay.
that depends. I use I think it's called Vital Proteins, and it's a powder,
Hmm.
and and it's got the various types of collagen in it, and I just put 2 scoops in it, and I take it every day. And because it's good for so many things. A lot of people with leaky gut don't realize that when they put collagen back into your system, especially with a lot of gut issues and digestion,
Hmm.
it works extremely well. So it's not just for the skin; it's the building blocks of protein for your body.
Right. Okay. Now, Andrea wants to know if you do consultations.
Yes.
And okay. And so,
My
Moni
website is
will give her.
moniamandla.com, moniamandla.com.
Okay, moniamandla.com. MoniAmandla.com. Okay, now Nessie says, what's the best way to get your body ready for a detox?
Start eating less. Make sure that you don't eat a lot of meat. If you eat meat, stop. And gradually do that. And so have a little bit less at a time. Too many people send their body into shock, and then they wonder why it's so hard for them to finish their detoxes, right?
Mm,
Because you got to get your body used to it. So take that one
that's
week,
right.
you know what I mean, and then have it once a day. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and then you move it to every other day. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
less and less, and now your body has time to adjust. So now that when you move into it, you're able to complete the detox because your body's not saying, "Wait a minute, I'm starving here." Right? Because
Right.
it's so used to having all of that stuff in your system. So just
Mm-hmm.
gradually have less and less. Now, if you don't eat meat at all, do the same thing with your meals. You know what I mean? Just have less. So instead of eating 3 meals a day or however many meals a day, just start to begin a little bit less and a little bit less. Now your digestive system is able to relax. Now, instead of focusing on digesting food, it can now focus on releasing the waste.
Okay, now you all heard that. And also I just put her website in the chat. So you all should be able to just click on that link, go straight to it. But also you all heard that what she said about not eating meat. So if you haven't purchased your Royal Vegan Cookbook, then you need to, all right? And also this month, for this month's ebook, I'm going to be doing one about how you can, go vegan, how you can wean yourself off of meat and so that you can go vegan. Because I don't expect those of you who eat meat to just stop suddenly and just start doing the whole vegan thing. But I'll be giving you an ebook this month telling you how you can just gradually wean yourself off of it. Okay? Claudette says excellent information.
Thank you.
Okay.
But
Now, so, oh, go ahead.
Don't you think I'm happy it helps?
Yes, absolutely. This is very helpful. Um, so aside from that, what about people having like problems with skin, like acne or something like that? They have that old wives' tale where they say, crush a aspirin. What they say, crush an aspirin and make it into a paste or something like that and put on it, it goes away. I don't know. I never had problems with acne, thank God. But I know some people that do. What would you suggest for them as far as skincare regimens that would help them to clear up that issue?
You know what my favorite thing to use is?
What's that?
Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap.
Oh, I love peppermint soap. I love peppermint soap.
Whenever my young people come and I'll tell them, I'll say, take some Dr. Bronner's, put it on the tip of your finger, and then don't wash it off at night. You know what I mean? It's clean, it's non-toxic, and it works, right?
Okay.
And so I have them make a paste out of that.
Okay. So you all heard that if anyone's having issues with your skin. Okay. Let me see. I think I'm going to start. We're 30 minutes in, so I think I would like to have a few minutes. Do we need to take vitamin D in conjunction with K2?
100% yes. 100% yes. You will not metabolize vitamin D properly without vitamin K2. Same thing with zinc. You need to have your zinc with copper. You know what I mean? Same thing. So yeah, for sure, 100%.
Okay, that was a good question. Okay.
It's an excellent question.
Kenyetta says she has sensitive skin. Okay, me either. I try best to take care of my skin. Moisturizing helps. Okay.
Yeah, and bentonite clay actually works also. The bentonite clay, yeah, for acne. I've seen it work too. Just make a paste.
Oh, really?
Yeah, make a paste out of it. It'll leave on there for a while.
I actually have some of that. I didn't have it for acne, but I have some of that in the capsule forms. Okay,
yep.
So that's interesting.
Add a few drops of water to it, and then just put it on there, and it starts to dry it out.
Okay. All right, so that sounds good. And so as far as with men and the thinning hair, that likely could be hormonal and things like that.
More likely than not, it has to do with their androgen levels, and that's a hormone.
Okay. So this is all very beneficial. What are her thoughts on eating one meal per day? Because that's what he does. That's what I do too. Not on purpose most of the time, but I'm so busy. I usually eat at the end of the day.
I like it. So, for example, I have a lot of clients within the Nation of Islam, and so they follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's.
I do too.
Yeah, 1 meal per day. So, yes, it works. It works quite well for a lot of people. It doesn't. So for some people, I don't recommend it, depending on what you're going through and what type of nutritional needs and what type of deficiencies that you have, right? And so I'm not a big proponent of a blanketed diet because, again, it's a personalized nutrition thing. So, for example, people with O blood, if you're looking at them ancestrally, the O bloods typically were carnivores. They were meat eaters, right? And so oftentimes when they go vegan at first and they'll do it too fast, they will experience a lot of migraines. And the reason for that is because bovine blood is really close to the O blood, person. And so it actually will heal the migraine if they have a steak, but they don't need to eat a lot of steak. And if they do ever eat it, it needs to be halal or it needs to be kosher, right? And never, ever, ever from any of those other stores, right? But more than anything, they need to have a primarily vegan diet,
Okay.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And also when you have certain issues with your organs, specifically the kidneys or things like that, it is very good to have plant protein because it's so much the animal protein seems to be a bit harsher on 100%. The kidneys and things.
100%. Yeah. And I'm not a proponent of animal protein, right? It's just that if a person has a choice between, putting a whole bunch of pharmaceuticals in their blood to kill, every time they get a migraine versus having a cleaner, I'm going to always say, okay, have your steak, but then be done with it rather than because now, you can have all kind of other things enter into your body as a result of what's like pretty much probably the number one killer right now, and that's pharmaceuticals.
Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. So with that all being said, does anyone want to join the stream to ask a couple of questions?
Come on.
Anybody want me to drop the link? I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. If anyone wants to come up here, let me put the link in the chat. And we'll have a few questions.
The people always ask me, why I love drinking shaka.
Yeah, that looks good.
Hibiscus and mango. This is Hawaiian tea. I love hibiscus tea. It's really good for your urinary tract, and really good for women hormonally also. So if you can get you some hibiscus tea, it's going to be really, really good for you, and especially for us as a people, because the hibiscus plant grows along the Nile. Naturally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
so it's
really
stimulated for our bodies already.
Okay. I was recently studying the magic of pine cones. I actually did a TikTok video about that. And so taking the pine needles and making that into a tea is very beneficial too. I did not know that there was so much going on with these pine cones. That was very interesting.
And that's really good for men too.
Really?
Yeah. All the things that are strong help them become strong, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Okay. Miss Bless said she's a 15-year vegetarian. I would like to become a healthy one. I snack a lot throughout the day. I'm always hungry.
Typically, when you're always hungry, that's your microbiome, meaning you're getting too much sugar, too much complex carbohydrate, right? So your microbiome, which is your gut, that bacteria is typically off whenever that happens. And so you want to make sure you're getting plenty of probiotics into your system. And you might want to also go to a company called Viome, Viome, Viome.com, and get your stool analyzed. They're going to tell you about your food intolerances and things like that. Because remember what I was saying earlier about us only having 10% human cells and the rest being bacteria and fungus. That bacteria is too abundant, and it's literally going to make you, continue to go after those things. And then, of course, we're designed to feed ourselves, but we're used to feeding our taste buds. Right. And so if your cells are not getting nutrients, you're going to feel hungry all the time because you didn't get nutrients into your system. Your cells are looking for the nutrients. You see what I'm saying? Right. And so if you don't get that, and you've got, you're doing all the snacking and things like that, and it's going to be tough at first because you're going to have to wean yourself off of it, kind of trade in some things, you know what I mean, that are healthier, because I'll tell you very honestly, I love potato chips. I had to stop eating them.
Yeah.
Right. But that's give me a nice salty, jalapeno potato chip. I am in heaven, but I cannot eat it because if I do, now my body's going to say, okay, I want more. You ever remember those when we were kids, we used to have the sandwiches and the chips, and then you want another sandwich and some chips, or nobody's eating one slice of pizza. Why? Because it's mostly carbs. You got, your belly felt full for a second, but then you needed some more because after the nutrients go into your bloodstream, there's not enough. And so your cells are like, wait a minute, we're still hungry. Where's the food?
Right, because it's nothing nutritional. No nutritional value.
Exactly. Just because
that makes sense.
Does not mean you had food. Just because you ate does not mean you had food.
That's right.
Everybody, nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. And so if you notice how you're feeling, and if you're sluggish and you're constantly craving, make sure that you're looking at replacing things that you can have for nutritional value, and that you can learn how to love. Because I tell people, like, for example, like mangoes, for example. I love mangoes. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the mango lotta, with the little tahini seasoning and things like that. Make it fun for you. Make it something that you'll enjoy. Right. You know what I mean? And so you can do those kind of things. And now you're getting some nutrients into your system, but you're not sacrificing that craving of the salty sweetness that you like.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. And you know what? So as far as the chips are concerned, honey, I love chips too. And so when I decided I'm going to stop eating them, I said, I've got to find me a healthy alternative. And so I tried the seaweed chips. And those are so good. I really like those. Yes. I like the ones with the little hints of sea salt on them.
Okay.
Those are my favorite. I recently tried the teriyaki flavor. Those are pretty good, but I like the sea salt ones better. But I love those.
I started doing like cucumber slices, and then I season them up. And I don't know if you remember how grandmama and them used to do when they had olive oil and a little
a little bit of vinegar. Yes. My grandmother used to love it.
Some of that, and then if I need a little spice, I add a little cayenne and things like that. So I do that a lot. Okay. And then like I find like hummus and and things like that to that I can dip in, so I'm doing a chip and dip, things like that.
Exactly. That take your mind off of it. And that was the reason for me doing that that vegan cookbook is so that they could see there's healthy alternatives. I'm going to send you that book too. I'll send you
I
that
can't
today.
wait. And I want to have you on when I relaunch my show called Bliss Up. I want to have you on and share your cookbook with my audience because they need that, and I want to be able to support you. And I hope all of y'all have y'all's copy and you're buying it and you're cooking out of it and you're sharing your recipes and you're TikToking it.
Okay,
like
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so we have Miss Danielle Meyer on here. I'm going to add her to the stream so she can ask her questions. Hey, Danielle.
Hi.
Danielle, can you hear us? I'm trying to see if she has a good connection. Danielle, can you hear us? I don't know if
I don't
can
think she
hear
can.
us. Yeah, I don't think she can hear us. Danielle. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to take her off.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. Miss Hotel said, "Yas Queen promote." Okay, hold on. Let me try to add her again. Danielle, can you hear us? Go ahead and ask your question, beloved. Can you hear? Make sure your audio is on. Okay, I'm going to remove you from the screen, beloved. Just type your question in the chats. Okay? You can just... Oh, can you hear? You can hear? Okay, just type your question in the chat, okay? I have someone else on here, Desmond. I'm going to go ahead and add him. Hey, Desmond, what's going on?
How y'all doing today?
Good. Hey, Desmond.
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Just got done eating something unhealthy. Okay, I can't. Unhealthy.
Okay, go ahead and ask your question, beloved.
Okay, so I just taught myself how to fry some fish. Is there any other anything I could fry that's be like healthy for my appetite? You know, so I want to be like like depending on like
you can fry and be healthy.
Desmond.
Well, I would say if you're going to use the oil, make sure you use avocado oil if you're going to fry.
Okay.
You know, don't do it in like the vegetable oil that's, you know, that's soybean oil, right? And so you as a man, you don't need all that phytoestrogen, right?
Okay.
You don't make you too emotional and make you estrogen dominant. Right. So, you know, avocado oil, if you're going to use any oil at all, just use a little bit. And if you can get an air fryer with a little bit of avocado oil, that's going to be even better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more question. So I have a thinnest spot in my hair. Like when my hair go out, do you know anything that can stop? I can help my hair go back naturally?
You want to start putting some rosemary oil inside of your scalp. Some rosemary oil helps, and some lavender oil, and then rub it in there. It helps the stimulation follicles. Okay. And then make sure that you're eating a lot of things that are going to be testosterone rich, like your cabbage and your broccoli, and you know all of the healthy things.
Cauliflower,
cauliflower, avocado. You know what I mean? Things that are going to help to boost testosterone levels in your system. You want to do that.
Okay. Thank you. Right. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. Good night.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.
Okay, so we have Danielle back on here. Let's see if she can hear us this time.
Okay.
I guess she disappeared. Hold on. I don't know. Something's wrong with her service, I believe. Okay. I am Joy asks, can people with a nut allergy use avocado oil?
That's a great question. I've been asked that a lot. I have not seen people with a nut allergy have that, but what I recommend that you do is get a food panel blood test and to see and make sure that they test avocado particularly, and then see how your blood reacts before you use it. Because if I come on here and I say that you can use it because I've never seen anyone have a nut allergy from it, and something happens, now I'm liable. So I always tell everybody, and I'm just give y'all a quick story. I'll be real fast with this, Queen. I remember when I first did my food panel blood test, I was thinking that I was eating healthy. I had no idea that my blood was responding negatively to papaya and pineapple and peanut butter, the things that I was thinking that I was going to be fine eating, caused severe inflammation in my system. So I suggested everybody, because you don't know what's happening. You might just think, oh, I'm just sleepy or I'm just tired, because food allergies don't always manifest in like breakouts or breathing issues. They can manifest as just not having a lot of energy or not sleeping well at night and having some insomnia. And so I suggest that everybody to get a food panel blood test done in your area. There's lots of labs all over the country that do them, and it will run through all kinds of things, and you can see how, if your blood and your system responds with inflammation, which is essentially a negative reaction, or if your blood is harmonious.
Okay, that's really a good idea, because also I know I've had people tell me that they got allergic to certain things as they got older, that it never bothered them in their youth.
Absolutely facts. There are definitely a lot of adult-born allergies. Lots.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we have Mr. Hotel has a question. He wants to know if there is specific emotions tied to certain types of foods. I'm going to add Nessie on here too.
I need that question to be more elaborate.
Okay, right.
Emotions with food? What do you mean? I need to know.
If there are certain types of emotions tied to food. Well, I'll say this: people who eat pork, Mr. Hotel, they tend to act like pigs. Okay, they tend to be gluttonous, nefarious. Just always in some BS. So I mean, the whole saying about you are what you eat, I absolutely believe that to be true.
That's a fact. You'll notice people who eat a lot of beef will have big round faces. Their faces will be
like a pie face. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's very true. Hey, Nessie, go ahead and ask your question, beloved.
Hi. Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes. Just can't see you, but we can hear you.
I thought I had the camera on. I do apologize, but I want to ask you something.
But you're like on the side. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Hey, y'all so cute. Okay, so really quick, I wanted to ask you. You said something that brought my attention, because I get migraines and I eat like one meal a day and I don't eat meat. But you said something that you should have a steak, but I don't like steaks.
You don't have to. I was saying no. You don't have to. I was saying that for certain people who have them chronically.
Okay.
And that's you are. I am by no means saying that you have to eat meat. I'm saying that an O blood has very, 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 very close blood to, because of ancestrally how their ancestors ate. So their blood is very closely assimilated to bovine blood, which it actually begins to act as medicine in their body. Only if it's coming from someplace else. But I'm in no way saying that you have to have a steak. But it does work.
It does. So what can I eat besides? Because I don't get it frequently, but I do get it, and
but it
I
might
noticed.
Not be because of that. It could be because of your gut. Like, what's your gut?
You think so?
Yeah.
Because more headaches than not are because of a toxic gut.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
that makes sense.
So again, it depends on the person. So if you're not eliminating with every meal, which you need to, which you're probably not, then that stuff is just sitting in your stomach, and now it's going to give you headaches now and again, especially if you're eating something that, if you're eating too many potatoes, or you eat, things that are too carb heavy, because a lot of people think that you eat meat that they're eating healthy. No, that's not true.
Right. Yeah, and I don't have as many bowel movements as I should have.
I know.
So you might be right. That makes sense.
I know. Yeah.
You smart. You so smart.
Yeah.
Girl, thank you, girl.
Now, would you suggest for that, Moni? Would you suggest for that chlorophyll, perhaps?
Oh.
With the incandescent?
Chlorophyll helps. Now, chlorophyll helps some people go to the bathroom, but I suggest haritaki or trifla to get you to go regularly, and make sure you're eating a lot of fiber at your meals. If you're not getting a lot of fiber, and also though, if you're in perimenopause or menopause, your digestion is going to be slower. Period. Because your estrogen levels are slower. So I suggest, for example, like I have a set of creams that help to raise your estrogen levels, or you can have things in your diet, right?
Okay.
That are going to help to raise those levels, and now you'll start to have more regular movements. But until then, take things like trifla with every meal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And cleansing teas, but be very careful about them if they have senna in them, because then you'll become dependent, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so your bowels become lazy. You don't want to get lazy gut. You know what I mean? Because now you're going to have more problems that you're going to have to fix later.
Right.
Okay.
So making sure that it does not contain, and if you do have anything with senna in it, because you need to flush yourself real quick, just make sure that you do that, but no more than 3 days, maybe 4 days max, right? And then stop.
Now, speaking of the flush, what I do to cleanse my colon sometimes every blue moon, I'll take a 32 ounces of warm water with a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of sea salt.
Salt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I drink that in the morning on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
And then about 2 hours later, it starts to work. So you can't be going anywhere anytime soon.
You can do that. You can do magnesium bicarbonate or magnesium citrate. That works really, really well. And plus, it's also going to help to cure the deficiency that pretty much everybody has with magnesium. So that's going to make you go too.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but make sure you're usually mineral deficient, and and get that gut cleanse, and make sure you take good probiotics and prebiotics.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, beloved. Okay. So we have Danielle's going to try it again. Okay, Danielle. All right. Hey, beloved, what's going on?
It was my device. I have a little cheap tablet I was trying to talk on.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. My question is, I noticed for about a month, I went to the doctor because I have been breaking out around my neck, my face is starting to flake in certain spots, and it didn't used to do that. Now it's doing it on
the areas where you're flaking at.
Here, here, around my neck, and like my lower leg. So I was initially thinking it was the water. We have like a shower head that has like purification beads in it because the water is terrible down here where we live. And I noticed that my 2-year-old son is having some issues too, but my other 2 children are not having it. So I went to the doctor. It was like when I was pregnant with my son, I had that condition called PUPS, to where I was just itching profusely no matter what I did. And I remember when I was in the hospital, they prescribed, what was that? It's like for severe itching, Vistaril, which it did help, but it makes me sleepy. Well, the doctor prescribed that this time. It only treats it, it's not taking care of it. It's like I'm still having that severe itch, and they did an allergy panel on me. They said I was allergic to ragweed and marsh grass, which I'm not exactly sure what marsh grass entails. I don't live around marshes or anything like that. There's a bayou across the highway from my house. So I don't know if that's anything to deal with, but I am right by a cane field. So I'm thinking it might be possibly that or whatever, but my skin wasn't peeling like this. And I don't know, maybe I'm 49 and I guess I'm at the beginning stages of menopause. I'm not sure if maybe it's hormonal, but then my little boy is having like these patches on his skin that's like hard.
Where are the patches out on his skin?
On his back and part of his neck. And me is all around my neck, just itching. And parts of my face is peeling, like here.
Is it crusty, like around the nose, behind the ears?
No, it's not. It's not crusty. It's just dry flake. It's flaky. Like when I'm itching, like if a rash dries sometime and your skin flakes. Well, that's what I'm going through.
Yeah, initially it sounded like seborrheic dermatitis, but now it's sounding like it could be more environmental reaction than anything, because they got a lot of these, from the chemtrails that they spread out here, and people are now starting to have a lot of breakouts as a result of the things that's in the atmosphere. And some people are more sensitive to it than others. We have an epidemic of microplastics in the atmosphere, and the microplastics are now causing diabetes, or people are thinking it's just their diet. It is not their diet. It is what they're breathing. It's just it's inhaling, this toxic mess. We're plaguing 90% of the population. So a lot of those times it's environmental, but I don't have any way to know for sure without, testing, you know what I mean? And seeing, what that is. But a lot of times it is. And so I would definitely make sure that you're taking things like iodine to try to protect you from potential radiation. You know what I mean? Especially with all the 5G towers and things that are coming up a lot of places. People are, especially where the towers are coming up, people are, and it sounds, like a conspiracy, but it's not. We are starting to see a lot of skin issues as a result of these, this excess,
radiation.
The radiation and the waves and things that are out here. So, and it's just manifesting in different people in different ways, but particularly the skin is a big one.
Well, I live in a toxic state. I'm in Louisiana.
What part of Louisiana do you live in?
deep south. I'm like 45 minutes from New Orleans. I'm in Lafourche Parish. I'm like 2 hours.
Those
I'm
areas
deep.
are very targeted, and there's stuff in the water treatment. It could be your water. You know what I mean?
Right.
The water is horrible down here.
Yeah, and so your skin is the skin is the largest organ in your body. Its whole job is to get the toxins out, right? So that's why you see acne and all that. It's pushing the toxins out. And so when you're feeling that, your body's it's reacting. It's trying to get rid of something that's plaguing, your system. You know what I mean?
And that's why
not it's the water or the air.
Yeah, and that's why I asked what part of Louisiana you live in, because they actually have a part of Louisiana known as Cancer Alley.
Cancer Alley. Yeah, I went to Southern University, and that's part of it. Like I went to Southern in Baton Rouge, right by the Mississippi.
Yep.
It was horrible. It's horrible over there. So I already know about that. Matter of fact, I'm around the corner from a sugarcane plant.
That if you're by a plant, honey, more likely than not, there's a lot of
hazardous waste and things like that. Yeah.
And not to mention, I'm not sure what they're treating the cane fields with, but this year, it was worse.
Your body's reacting to all of that. You know what I mean? Now you could be having some issues as it relates to hormones, but when you said was it your son? You said?
Yeah, my little boy. I have 3 children. It's just my baby boy. Yeah, my baby boy. He's got little parts of him where he's breaking out, but my other 2 children aren't having skin issues.
Some people are more
sensitive.
Some people are just more
I just noticed since we moved to this neighborhood and stuff.
Yep.
I've been getting really, really bad allergies.
If it's ever possible for you to move, I would do that.
Oh, trust me. I just started back working today. Been out of work for over 3 years.
Congratulations.
So thank you. My plan is to get out of this neighborhood, even though the neighborhood itself is a great neighborhood, got great neighbors, can't ask for, to live around decent Black folk,
Yeah.
But it's just where it's set up at is the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. In the town where I live, they said this was like the affluent Black neighborhood at the long time ago and stuff, but and it's the best Black area to live where I live. But I can't be like it's
to tolerate it. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Because over time, that exposure, it just, I'm just being honest, it just gets worse. And you don't want to have to rely on like your steroid creams and things like that over time, especially sun. You know what I mean? Just if you can find an area where you can, where you're away from the plant, not so close to where they're, spraying pesticides and and all that stuff that's in the atmosphere where you're at, then you should see some relief.
Yeah. We have a reverse osmosis machine for our water.
Okay.
It's a countertop one.
Yeah.
But eventually I want to invest in a water generator, atmospheric water generator. I want to try to do as much as I can as far as like trying to switch to solar things.
Absolutely.
If we lose power, I'll have my solar generator and stuff. And I want the water generator. I mean, because now I know about the chemtrails because they spray them like crazy around here.
Then you know what I'm talking about. So there's and people, I mean, it's unbelievable what we breathe in and what we've gotten or trying to adjust to.
You're right. Absolutely. So I hope that helped, beloved. I'm going to let you go because I see Andrea has a couple of questions.
Nice.
All right, thank
you. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, Andrea, are you going to click that link? Let me drop the link again. Andrea had some questions.
I hope this is helpful for you guys.
This is very helpful. This is very helpful for me. Okay, so does she know if any neighbors have the same issues? That's a good question, Honey 69. Ask her when she gets back in the chat, beloved. That's a good question. Okay. And then also some things like our detergent and fabric softeners and stuff like that could be a culprit.
That's true too. That's true too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So try to get clean, dye-free, and scent-free detergents and things.
Right. Okay. Andrea said, "Where's the link?" Here it is, beloved. I'm gonna drop it again. There you go. It's right there. It's the last comments. Okay. Just click on it. It'll bring you right in here. Nessie says it's really very helpful. Okay. Melon A1 said very, very helpful. Yes. All right. Melon A1 said thank you. All right. So I'm glad you all appreciate it. And so also, while we're waiting to see if Andrea's going to click the link, go ahead and tell them where they can find you, your services, if they need consultations or anything like that.
Okay, awesome. So you can go to my website at Moni, Moni, Amandla, AMANDLA.com. You'll be able to connect with me there. It's under offerings, the offerings tab, and it shows you, where my, wellness consults, and so on are. And what I'm going to do for, and I had just thought about this just now. I'm like, I got to give a special offer to your people. If it's a wellness consultation, I'll do 50% off for the Queen's clients. You just have to message me and say, put her name in there, and then I will honor that for you.
Okay, well, thank you. I know they appreciate that. Thank you.
Hello.
Okay. Hey, how are you doing, beloved? Go ahead and ask your question.
Going through a lot. I take over 15 to 20 medications. I mean, so many questions I have to ask you. But one, taking this many medications, I know it does some kind of damage to the body, or side effects. And I was wondering, what can I do, like, to keep my system clean?
That's tough because it's.
I mean, I have so many illnesses, so many.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm sorry, honey. I think the biggest thing is for I'd have to know all the medications. We'd have to look at your blood work and all of those kind of things to see what we can replace, right? With the botanical equivalent, because there are some things, and I'm just going to be very frank here, that there is no botanical equivalent for. Right.
Right.
So, for example, you have a very acute things. There are times when you need to go to the hospital. There are times.
Let me tell you something. Since August, I've been in the hospital every month except for 1 month.
Wow. I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry. But the biggest thing I would do is try to eat as clean as you can.
Oh, I do.
But yeah, it's really tough to say how can you clean when you have to put that right back into your body. Right.
Right. Exactly. That's why I asked. Yeah. And can I say something? I feel because of my eating habits since I was young and since I was a teenager, I always watched what I ate. Because my mom died at 58 from a heart attack, massive heart attack. Her mom was 38. I have a sister who was 54, and her daughter was 38. So I know all this runs of my family. So I have always, watched and the way I eat and everything. And on top of that, I have so many other medical issues. And I feel, if it wasn't because of the way I, tried to eat right, I would have been out of here too,
Yeah.
I saw Queen online, I think it was last month before last. I was in the hospital in November on life support. Heart trouble. I had never had heart trouble in my life. And they had drained like over a liter of medication. I mean, a liter of fluid off my heart. I'm not understanding where this is all coming from. I'm just baffled.
May I ask a personal question?
Yes.
Are you vaccinated?
Yes. And I will never do it again. Never, ever, ever.
More times than not, I am seeing a lot of clients who did not have heart issues prior to this. They didn't have congestive heart failure. But since this, and of course they're not going to say it, but unfortunately, this is what's been happening to a lot of people, and then the side effects and the different things. It is absolutely incredibly heartbreaking, and forgive me for saying this out here. If I was to say this publicly.
Oh yeah, I know the backlash. People get. For speaking the truth.
What I would like to do. Is there is a thing, I don't know if you are a prayerful person, if you are a spiritual person.
Yes.
One of the things I suggest that you do is start studying the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Okay, hold on, let me write that down.
With a term called epigenetics, and where you can help to renew and literally revive and your entire cellular structure. We're seeing miracles and with those types of the mindset. And of course, you've got a lot of, when we talk about the stuff energy and things like that, when we talked about before, you've now got generational things from people who died early, right?
Exactly.
And you might not know that now impacts you, because somewhere it's like, oh, well, would that be me, right? And
Yeah.
now you're
Hmm.
like,
And
oh,
then, I'm going through so much. I just had a
yeah,
son who was murdered, so I
oh,
mean,
see, yeah,
everything is just
all of
weighing
that,
so heavy on me.
honey, yes,
And
Yeah,
then,
this
oh
is
it's
a
like,
God,
lot.
yeah, and it's like, you can't talk to anyone, because
yeah,
I'm from New Jersey, but I've been here in Florida for almost 30 years.
mm,
And I came down here to be with my sister to help care for her, but she passed on almost 15 years ago.
mm,
And, so I really don't I have my grandkids here now, who's my
mm.
son who got murdered. I had his children since the time they
Oh,
were born.
yeah, your body's overwhelmed, honey.
Yes, you're doing a
Yeah,
lot. This is a
yeah.
Your
lot.
body's
Even,
overwhelmed. You've got all the previous trauma that's stuck there. Now you've
hmm
got the loss of a child, right?
hmm
And I understand that. I've got both of my daughters are gone, right? And
uh-huh,
so I understand your pain. And
hmm
I want to give you a few things, if I may. And it's going to be,
hmm
and if is it okay, Queen? Do I have a moment to share
Yeah,
something with
Wait,
you?
sure.
hold on. Can I please I lost my pen again. I'm in the dark because my head is hurting right now. Like
Oh,
I said, I'm going through so much. But
you,
I was asleep, but I had to wake up for this live. So I made sure I was on time
oh,
too, because I need to hear this. When she said she's going to have you on, I said, I must be up, but I'm ready.
so, a few things I want to share with you is about taking some time to meditate every day.
Mm-hmm.
Taking some
Yes.
time to breathe.
Meditation.
I talk a lot about the grace of God, and I know we've gone through so many things as a people. So many of us have so
Mm-hmm.
much trauma, but you're still here. You still have purpose. You
Yes.
still have life. And
Mm-hmm.
even though you're overwhelmed and so much has happened and your cells are doing what they're doing, some of that, I remember there was a gentleman who had a heart attack, and he was like, well, I must have had this heart condition the whole time. And so I asked him, I said, well, what happened? Oh, well, my mom died. This one died. That one died. Oh, his heart was broken. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so being able to go through those and feel the things, and my invitation to you is not to tuck the things away, but to
Mm-hmm.
find someone that you can talk to, that you can release, that you
Mm-hmm.
can be honest about your feelings. I know a lot of us were raised up in the church where we always were taught, oh, well, God had a plan, so there must be
Exactly.
a place. And so
Right.
we don't allow ourselves to be angry. We tuck the anger and then it manifests as illness. We
Mm-hmm.
tuck the disappointment and it manifests as
Exactly.
different.
Exactly.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that was messed up. And if you
You
need
know
help,
what?
it's okay to say
And
that was
I don't know if I should say this, but
say it.
when my child was murdered, I was talking to my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Usually I'm very easygoing and everything, but I had so much anger, and I still do.
Yes.
I had,
Don't tuck
and I'm learning to allow myself that it's natural to have these feelings,
absolutely.
especially,
I
when your
agree.
child was unarmed. And
Yes.
he killed my child to the point where they didn't want me to see his body because
Yeah.
they said it would be traumatizing to me for the rest of my life.
Yes.
So I,
Yes.
told the film director, I said, well, just put a picture in, an envelope and seal it. Maybe one day, I'll be strong enough. But,
And
this
it's so
type of pain, I would not wish it on anybody. I would
I
not wish it on anyone.
I understand it. Mama to mama who
Hmm.
has
Yes,
lost
you've
a
been
child.
through it. You've been through it. And then your people,
Yes.
it's so easy for them to say, oh, get over it.
Um,
But you don't know the pain until you went through something like
absolutely
this,
the truth. I got you. I understand.
But hmm
I
it's,
understand. And one thing I can say is, and I'm hoping that you're looking at me, that you'll
I
smile
am. I
one day.
am.
Because I can't
Hmm.
well, but you'll smile again one day, even if it's not today. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? One day, you'll learn that there was grace. You know what I mean? You'll
Yeah.
be able to cherish the memories. You'll have some gratitude, and you'll be able to smile and laugh again. And so when I look at mothers, especially other mothers who've been there, I know what that feels like to look at that casket and know that your baby is in there. And
Hmm.
there's no worse feeling, because it seems like it messes with the divine order, right?
Yes.
And people will say, "Oh, well,
Hmm.
God knew you were strong enough." Well, was I?
Yes.
But what
Mhm.
God did know was that grace was sufficient, and I can do what I do right now and look at another mother and tell her, "You're gonna be all right." It
Amen.
might not look like it right now.
I
You are
needed
going to
those
be all right.
words, and that's why
Yeah, I
I
know
got
you
up.
did.
I had told myself, I said, please, I said, wake me up. Set your alarm, wake me up at 6 o'clock. It's something I want to hear and need to
Mama,
hear.
you're gonna be okay. You're
And
gonna be okay.
even your suggestions that, for, the medical, things you were telling the people,
Yeah.
so I can apply to myself. And I thank you,
Oh, I want to send you so much. And I'm
Yeah.
sending you a virtual hug. I know, and I'm going to be praying for you and for
Absolutely.
your heart as it mends. And as you are ready. And if right now you're mad, stay in that. Be mad. It's okay. But if
So
if you are not honest, I'm going to tell you one
Oh,
quick
I'm
thing.
honest. I'm
One
honest
quick
person.
thing. Let me say this to you. Tell me your name again.
Andrea Jones.
Andrea. So, hi, Andrea. I'm Moni.
Hello.
Let me just tell you this real quick. There was a movie that Will Smith did, and it was called Collateral Beauty. And I had gone all these years not able to process my pain of losing a child. And I had this after illness, and it was two, 1995 and 2001.
Oh my God. Oh Lord.
And I remember I would go to church and they would tell me, oh, well, God had a plan and you should rejoice and they're in heaven. And it made me feel better for a moment. But then I started realizing I was tucking away the this and tucked away the that because I had to keep moving because the electric bill doesn't stay on. You know what I mean? Just because I'm grieving, I had to get back to work. But I went to see that movie by myself. And in that movie, Will was angry. He was furious. And I remember I was living in Las Vegas at the time and I went to Red Rock Casino to watch that movie. And as I walked through the casino, I have tears streaming down my face. That was the first time I allowed myself to feel. And I got in the car and I said, God, I'm pissed off. I'm tired of saying that it was okay because it was not. I'm tired of people telling me that I had to be fine with this and that they're no longer suffering. I don't want to hear that. I want to be able to say that that was messed up. And let me tell you that.
Can I say? I'm sorry. Let me let you finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. That day, it felt like a blanket lifted off of me because it was the first time I was able to be honest before my Creator. I didn't have to be the spiritual guru that was, oh yes, it's gonna be fine. No, I was pissed, and I was able to say it for the first time in 10 years. But it's healing. So I'm saying that to you to say that as I'm here, and you can see that I am so full of love and so full of bliss, and I never thought that I would see light at the end of that tunnel.
Oh God!
But if you allow it, you will. You will.
But I'm gonna say one thing. I'm a very loving person, but I never felt until this happened. They came to my house. This Monday would have been on January 9th, and told me that this guy was not going to be charged because he feared for his life, even though he had the gun and he was inside his car and never got out of his car, but he unloaded on my son in the street, and desecrated his body to the point where I couldn't see it. And he had nerve to tell the detectives he wanted to meet me and my other son. I have one child left now. And I said, no, you tell him I'd rather not meet him because I'm going to tell you how I feel. At this point, I'm so angry. I know what area this guy lives in. I'll be looking for him every day when my son is at work on his nursing job. That's my feelings,
That's okay.
And I had to be let it known because I had to let it out because of his anger. And it scares me because I'm not an angry person. Usually I'm not an angry person at all. And I have this type of anger is scary.
Yeah.
Oh God, help me. I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
That's okay. You need to let it out.
I am so sorry. But if I see him, if I knew what he looked like, I would kill him. I'm sorry. That's just my feelings right now.
I'm sorry to feel that.
Oh God.
He took a piece of you. If you don't have, don't go kill him now. Don't do it. But I'm
just
saying,
no, I wouldn't do that. No, I'm just saying
it's okay to be angry.
It's okay to feel that. And that's the point, to go through the feelings because grief is a process. And guess what? Anger is one of the stages.
That's right.
It's one of the stages. And if you don't allow the stage from something that was so near and dear, that's a spiritual wound. It's a soul wound that now is manifesting as physical wound in your body. And the physical wound is now disease.
And
as I have you allow yourself to heal, you're gonna notice that you're not even gonna need some of those medications anymore.
I have his children and my granddaughter. She's 13. oh my gosh, she's a split image of him. So he's always here with me, but oh my God, he's his twin. But this is so hurtful. My God, I just
for sharing it with us.
Thank you so much for listening.
Oh, you got it.
Absolutely, beloved. Thank you for sharing your story.
And I didn't want to break down. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Facebook, do not apologize. Find me on Facebook. I want to talk to you further after this.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, beloved.
Okay.
Breathe, honey. Breathe. Breathe.
Oh, that's a lot to be going through.
It's a whole lot. And that's when I was talking about the stuck energy and the traumas, and that's what we see all the time in my practice. That's why I'm saying, if we're not honest in what we feel, even if it's something that didn't happen to us from somebody else, but if sometimes we're mad at ourselves for not going for certain things, and so now we self-punish.
That's right.
You know what I mean? There's so many things that we go through, and until we acknowledge, we don't heal. So we have to.
That's right. That's right. And you all know that's why I tell you to speak light upon yourself and to your children and grandchildren. It's very important, the things that you say. You can't beat yourself up. You have to speak positive things about yourself, to yourself, and meditating every day and practicing your affirmations. Okay, now I see Ashley. Ashley said she wants to come on here, but Ashley said her hair was looking a hot mess. Ashley.
So is mine.
Ashley, you can come on here.
I'm sorry, but come on.
Ashley, you can come on and keep your camera off if you prefer, beloved. You don't have to turn your camera on.
Girl,
but I just dropped the link.
Child, don't leave me by myself. Queen over there looking all beautiful and everything.
Thank you. So are you. Quit playing. Okay, Ashley, you don't have to turn your camera on, honey. You can just come on here with the camera off and just ask your questions, okay? And we're going to take a couple more questions, and then I'm going to close out, okay? And also, Moni, tell us don't you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, it's Total Life Wellness. Total Life Wellness.
Let me put that in the chat.
Yeah, Moni Amandla's Total Life Wellness. So if you type that, you'll find it there.
Okay.
I haven't done enough on it. I'm just now getting out there again. Y'all, I've done all my behind the scenes and working with different
that's okay. We know you're busy, honey.
But this keeps me busy. It's so wild because my days are just going, and so I'm trying to slow down so I can do more of this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Danielle. Said Queen is always flawless. Thank you for everywhere. Okay. Lillian said, "Look for me because I'm coming over." Okay, she's gonna subscribe to her YouTube channel. Yes, and everyone, please make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel and go visit her website. Okay, she does do consultations. All right, and she already said she's giving you guys 50% off, so pay attention. Okay, so if no one has any more questions, Ms. Hotel said this was amazing. Thank you. Okay, so if no one else has any questions,
okay,
I'm going to go ahead and get ready to conclude the broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I'm sure that we'll all get something out of this. Melanin A1 said, yes, I will subscribe. Thank you. Here's Ashley. Ashley, get up here talking about your hair is a mess.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. Hold on. Let me take her off and bring her back on. Looks like something might be wrong with her device.
Okay.
Ashley, are you there? Terry says, thank you, Queen, for this amazing interview. You're welcome, beloved. Ashley? Let's give her a minute because something's going on. That's why the screen is so black. Andrea said, I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. So listen, this was very informative. What do you suggest for people trying to reprogram their hypothalamus? Like sometimes people, I think a lot of times when people eat, when they don't eat and they start having these headaches and they say it's hunger headaches and whatever, I think that's usually from the chemicals that they're used to eating in the foods or whatever. But when someone's trying to wean themselves off of that, basically trying to reprogram the hypothalamus so that they, can get rid of those chemicals, or I don't know if I'm putting this in the right words, but basically so they can, help their body get prepared for a different type of diet. like, eating healthy or whatever. Do you have anything you would suggest for that? If they're having like headaches because of that, or brain fog, or any of those things?
They gotta flush. And if they're experiencing like the brain fog and all of that, I would definitely add the medicinal mushrooms like your chaga, your reishi, and your lime to help them stay sharp. But they gotta hydrate like crazy. You're releasing those toxins and shifting your body. Your body gotta flush a lot. Again,
yes.
You know what I mean? Adding that but making sure that you're doing the things they're going to help the brain and help the body, stay, stable.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, I usually try to drink at least half my body weight in water per day.
I tell everybody, upon awakening, drink at least a liter of water.
Okay.
Upon waking up, that's the first thing you do, because it's going to help you go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And if you don't want to use sea salt, you can use baking soda. Baking soda has done a lot because of, it helps to oxygenate, the bloodstream. And so it's done a lot. There's, I'm going to send you, as soon as I find it, there's some studies on that I recently went through that were phenomenal. I couldn't believe what I was reading about baking soda.
Really?
And yeah, there was a doctor back in the 30s. I'm trying to think of her name. But she'd done all this really intense research. And the next thing you know, she ended up getting killed, because you know how that goes. But the research was absolutely stunning when it came to all kinds of diseases and things, because, it's hard for disease to maintain in a highly oxygenated environment.
Right.
And so, yeah. And so when she was doing that, I mean, it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Now, speaking of a highly oxygenated environment, what about, I think it's 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide.
About that. Yep.
So is that good for that, keeping you full of oxygen? Because I haven't done this in a while, but I used to put drops of it in my water. It's so nasty. But I would put it
online. I forget how many drops you're supposed to do, but you do it gradually.
Right.
And you don't want to shock your system.
Yeah.
Because now it's going to be like, oh, that doesn't work for me. Well, your body wasn't ready for it.
Right.
Just do it gradually. I forget what the number is.
Well, what I was doing, I would put like 2 drops in.
Yeah.
And then days later, I put like 4. And I kept building up till I got up to like maybe 10 drops.
Yeah.
But I did that over time.
And I like the hydrogen water also.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
Hydrogen capsules, and I drop it into my water. And then while it's, like, drink it right away, because of course hydrogen's a gas. And so
right.
Get off, and get that into your system. But that's energizing. It's oxygenating, all that good stuff.
Okay, great. Okay, very good information. Okay, so listen, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Sorry, Ashley, that you couldn't get on, beloved. You can email me later. But with that all being said, I hope everyone got something out of this. I'm pretty sure that you all did. I want to thank Moni for coming on here, giving us this wealth of knowledge. And I'm going to have her back on here again. And also make sure you follow her on her YouTube channel. Say your YouTube channel again, Moni Amandla's Wellness.
Total Life and Wellness.
Total Life and Wellness. And then also her website is moniamandla.com. Okay. And so with that all being said, thank you all for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. All right. Don't forget, each one teach one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll say thank you for having me. Thank you.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Okay, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, Stardusters, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.